I've spent the last 100 hours watching Spy X Family, and here are 21 things I guarantee you missed. Can you see the big mistake in this scene? Spy X Family is set in the 1960s, but when I was watching, I saw this modern-style ketchup bottle, and after Googling it, I found out this ketchup bottle design was invented in 2002. That's 42 years after the show takes place. I found something even weirder here. You see, the yellow school bus has been around for almost 100 years, but somebody mentioned that this exact style was from the 1980s, 20 years after the show takes place. But I'm guessing you didn't notice this little Easter egg in episode 7. See, Anya had ran into her room because she didn't want to do any more homework, and when Loid ran after her and knocked at the door, I saw this spelling of her name on the door. The animator spelled her name with an I instead of a Y. When the Spy X Family manga initially came out, Anya's name was spelled with an I, but the author later decided to change the name because he didn't like the original spelling. But the spelling mistakes get even worse, because way back in episode 1, Loid received a letter that had a spelling mistake on it. I paused the show and zoomed in on the letter to see that they had misspelled Loid's name. Instead of writing Loid the normal way, they wrote it like this. Let's talk about Loid's secret love message to Yor in episode 9. See, Yor and Loid were preparing for Yuri's visit, so Loid set up a room in his apartment that made it seem like he slept with Yor. It all looked super romantic, but it's the writing on the pillows that's an Easter egg for me. See, these pillows have a yes on one side, but they also have the word no on the other side. And if your husband or wife sets up the pillow to the yes side facing up, that's a message that they love you. Since Loid set up the bed, I think he's telling Yor that he has feelings for her. And this is just one of the 20 plus Easter eggs I'm sharing. And for the 21st fact, I reveal an Easter egg that happens in the last scene of the very last episode. But now we're going to take things to a whole nother level. Like this special Easter egg that even the writer of the manga didn't notice. When Yuri accused Loid and Yor of faking their romance, they quickly said they were indeed in love and made a heart with their hands. The only thing is, that's not a heart shape. Not even close. It's more of a peanut shape. And this makes sense when you remember that Anya loves peanuts. This little Easter egg is a sign that Anya is the source of their love. Now listen, this is probably more a coincidence than an Easter egg, so I kept on searching and you won't believe what I found. Let's talk about Loid's underwear for a second. Exactly 1 minute into the 5th episode, you can see the spy agency screen with a bunch of information about Loid Forger. A lot of it is blurred out, but one thing isn't. We can see that it says his pantsu is black, and pantsu is just the Japanese word for panties. I really don't know why the spy agency has this information about Loid. There's no way they need that, right? But at least the spy agency didn't ruin a whole scene, because that's exactly what this animator did. See, exactly 10 minutes and 13 seconds into episode 2, Loid mentally goes through a list of every single woman in his town. But if you look at the surrounding women on the list, you'll see that the animator was a bit lazy and copy-pasted the information. The women all have the same name, birthday, and information. Listen, this scene was shown for just a few seconds, so I get why they didn't put more work into it. But let's talk about this painting secret real quick. When Loid and Anya were at the museum, Anya pointed at this painting while laughing because of the lady's lack of clothes. But what you probably didn't know is this is actually a real painting. It's called the Venus of Urbino, and it was painted by one of the most famous artists in the world. Did you notice the major change they made to the painting? The original has 2 people in the background, while the anime edited in a white curtain instead. So my producer Marcus was going through the cast of Spy X Family on myanimelist.com when he found an Easter egg for the next season. I'm going to let him explain.
Hey guys, producer Marcus here. See, we all know that Anya wants a dog, and while I was going through the cast of Spy X Family, I saw that a dog was listed with the name of Bond Forger. But what's even crazier is that there's already a voiceover artist listed for the role. This could be a sign that we're going to be getting the dog in part 2 of season 1 very soon. The craziest part is that when I double checked, the name had been removed. It could be that the director realized he spilled the beans here.
Now, episode 5 is all about Anya pretending to be a damsel in distress while Loid plays as Bond Man and tries to save her. This episode is super fun to watch, but they actually made the whole episode off of a single page of the manga. In the manga, the author only briefly mentions Anya pretend playing with Loid, but in the anime, they turned it into a full 25-minute episode where they rented a castle, brought in the spies, and had Loid fighting everybody. Everybody knows that Japan tends to animate different scenes for their American and Asian audiences. conveniences. So I thought I might be able to catch something if I used my trusty VPN to change my location to Japan. And that's why I turned to CyberGhost, the sponsor of today's video, for help. The very next Easter egg I found is insane. But first I'm going to share 3 reasons you need to download CyberGhost. Number 1. Unlimited movies and shows. You can use CyberGhost's VPN to access tons of content that you previously wouldn't be able to watch. Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, even Disney Plus. You can use one CyberGhost subscription to enjoy online freedom on up to 7 devices at a time. Number 2. Online security. Data breaches and malware infections are just one click away from making you lose important data. With CyberGhost VPN, you can finally put your mind at ease and shield your identity. Once enabled from the app, CyberGhost transmits your data through a secured encrypted tunnel, giving you a high level of online, military-grade security. And number 3, it's a no-brainer. CyberGhost has over 38 million users and a perfect 5-star rating from over 14,000 users. And even better, this is one of the best priced VPNs I've ever seen. It costs only $2.23 a month, and you'll get 4 months free with my special link. Click on the link in my description to get this amazing offer that's exclusive to my viewers. Now, I'm betting you didn't know that this bridge is actually a real place. In the anime, the students walk under the bridge every day when they go to school, but the inspiration for it is a real-life bridge called the Bridge of Sighs in Oxford, England. I think you can see the resemblance. And if you didn't take a close look at this clock, you'd never notice that anything was wrong with it. But I zoomed into the writing on the clock and realized that the animator forgot to personalize the text. It just says, "Add your text here to personalize," over and over again. A similar thing happened with Loid's important letter from Eden College. The words on the letter were really blurry, so a fan spent hours deciphering them. And it turns out, it was just mumbo jumbo. The first sentence goes, "Therefore, we should much coins here in the Wednesday." And that kind of gives you an idea of how brain dead the letter is. All I have to say is that the letter isn't elegant. But let's talk about the mistranslation that nobody noticed. See, Henry Henderson had just revealed to the family that Anya was at the top of the waiting list. He said that if one of the kids above her dropped out, she would be able to enroll at Eden Academy. Yor started thinking about what she would do if nobody dropped out. In the original Japanese anime, she then imagines killing someone called Ikiniro, which means sacrifice, so that Anya would be able to go to the school. In the English transition of the anime, however, she kills somebody called Zachary Fice. The anime producers chose a name that sounded just like the word sacrifice, because in English, nobody is called sacrifice. Here's a test for you. I'm going to share a scene and you have to find the Easter egg. In episode 2, Yor's coworker Camilla discusses the fact that a creep broke into the office and stole information about the women in the city. Later, Camilla tells Yor to come to her party next week, and as a joke, she tells Yor to invite the creep as her date. The Easter egg here is that Yor ended up inviting the creep's boss to the party. You see, Frankie was the guy who broke into the office, and he only broke in because Loid told him to. Remember, Loid needed information about all the single women in the city? I think we can all agree that Anya's character design is super cute. But why does she look so similar to this girl from the manga called Rengoku no Ash? Well, the answer is pretty simple. Endo, the creator of Spy X Family, also created Rengoku no Ash. And when he designed Anya's character, he decided to reuse the design of the main character from his previous manga. I actually felt really dumb because I didn't realize that he was the creator of both until way down the line. I always thought he had just flagrantly copied somebody else. Do you remember when Anya called Damien a shithead? Yeah, I didn't either, but when I saw somebody comment about it, I went back to double check. It turns out that the subtitles show her saying shithead, but is this what she actually said in Japanese? The Japanese word she says is kuso means while yaro means jerk. So she technically called him a jerk. In the manga, they tried to lighten up the translation by saying poopy head, but I guess jerk is a bit more accurate. But let's talk about the beautiful character arc I saw with Yor in episode 3. At the beginning of the episode, she looked frightened and anxious in front of Loid's house. This signified her fear of being accepted in his family. But at the end of the episode, you can see her flushed with happiness when she shows she is content with her new life and family. Did you know that the very last scene of the very last episode actually has an Easter egg? Anya is seen holding a bag of maize cozy nut. If you translate maize cozy, you'll realize that it means mixed. So Anya is holding a bag of mixed nuts. The funny part here is that the intro song of Spy X Family is called Mixed Nuts. But you might argue that this is just a coincidence. She loves nuts, so it's not surprising that she's holding a bag of mixed nuts. However, the label on the right side of the bag says Dandrism, which is a reference to the band that sang Mixed Nuts. But don't forget to click on the link in the description and use my special discount code, CyberGhostVPN. That's only for you guys. It's just $2.23 a month and has a 45-day money-back guarantee, so everything is risk-free.